Happy Thursday, everybody. We are almost to the weekend. Thank God. This has been a long week, but we got a nice long weekend coming up and closing weekends for the premier summer meets in Del Mar and Saratoga. I am Josh with On the Wrong Lead. Oh, man. John Massey's already just coming and firing on the wrong lead night at Northfield Park with this post-time drag. Come on, we were only like 2 minutes late. And part of it was because I was actually making sure that I grabbed bourbon. Because there was one stream that I forgot to grab bourbon. Not going to happen again. So I went to grab some Blanton's. Let's introduce who's behind door number one. It's Mark. Mark, how you doing?
You're awfully cranky on that one stream where you forgot bourbon. You were in a mood.
Dude, and I was all over the place. You got the
bourbon and you settled right down, and you were a happy Josh.
Dude, I was all over the place. And then, what was it last week where I had to get up and go get tequila because of Caleb's bad take? So, but yeah, Mark, how's your week so far? I do think that we need to bring up what happened to you today.
For the second time this meet, and I think honestly in the second time of the history of me playing horses, I had a DQ go in my favor, and it very, very went in my favor today. So I'll take it.
Yeah, that 8 horse was it race 9 or race 8?
Maybe it was race 9. 8, yeah, race 8? It was race 8. Yep. Yeah, that horse coming down was very good for me.
Yeah, the 4 coming down and you getting put up for it was like $27 double that paid pretty nicely for how many times you had it.
Very nicely.
And coming back from a long hiatus, good Mr. BD horse player. How you doing, Brian?
It's a hiatus. You make it sound so nice. I mean, just tell the people I was sitting in jail. It is what it is.
Well, we do have to specify what kind of jail because. We have a Twitter jail, we have Facebook jail, we got real jail, and then we got just being chained to your desk at work, which is, I think, the type of hell that you've been going through.
Yeah, not actual jail, although actual jail might be better. I mean, 3 hots and a cot, and you're guaranteed to have lights out at 9 o'clock. So, I mean, how bad could that really be? I'm just saying, sometimes work gets in the way, but Mark doesn't understand that, Josh. I know you do, though, so it's okay.
I love your optimistic take on jail.
I mean, think about it. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You get a shower, sometimes with friends, and you get a nice bed.
Oh, God, that's definitely got to be a military thing. But Stephen Fox already calling Mark out, saying Discord tourney certainly not going in Mark's favor. Mark, I believe you are at the bottom.
I am in dead last place. Yes, I am taking up the rear in this Discord tournament. I am getting owned, and it is not a pretty thing right now. I need to find me some cap horses.
The funny part is you were in second to last a couple days ago. You were beating Vern. And I just had to give Vern shit. I'm like, hey, you're the only one losing the Capitan over here. And sure enough, as soon as that happened, he got like $2 added to his total, and he leapfrogged over you there. But
the fun part is I was in first place, I think, after the first weekend, and I proceeded to pick one horse a day horribly. Honestly, with a piece of paper and a dartboard, you could do better than I have this meet.
So is it safe to say you were in E8 for the Discord tournament?
Yes, I was in E8. Yeah.
So
I was that horse actually that was on the outside of Saratoga that broke through the gate. That was me, and then I just faded terribly.
John Massey saying he needs to figure out what to do with $6 for the Friday card. I did see John Massey's name atop a certain leaderboard out there on Twitter. So hopefully hopefully it keeps it going. Brian, did you play in that tournament this year? I know you've played it in the past, I think.
I did not. So, I used to do the Huddy contest back when the Huddy contest was cool. And then this one, I just, with the work thing going on, I decided to just sit back. And I'm lucky I even know what a horse looks like right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thing with the Discord tournament. I was just like, man, it's going to be tough to stay on top of it every day and like having to make a pick. I know it's only one pick, but having to get it in in the morning and stuff, it just like was going to be a little dicey for me. But yeah, I know. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, John Massey, there's a couple really interesting races on the Friday card at Saratoga. I think it's the 4th race. There's a turf race it's like an optional 100 that is it's a bunch of G1 horses in an optional 100, like horses that have recently competed in G1s. It was a really, really, really weird race, but yeah, there's some good stuff there. You can probably find some value.
What happened here?
I didn't
there
know.
we go. I was just I was looking at stuff and I was like, wait, something doesn't look right. There you go. But yeah, so we got that's our tourney recap. I would have loved to have Caleb on to talk about his StableDuel heater. I was talking about it on the podcast a little bit. I did a short little solo pod this week, and yeah, I'm gonna have to get Caleb to I don't know, divulge some kind of secret because, I mean, before we went to Saratoga 2 weeks ago, the man won wine for winning a contest. When we were at Saratoga, he might have broke the sound barrier with how high he scored in that contest. And then
the third or fourth highest score they've ever had.
It was over 500 points.
It was absurd.
Yeah. And then what was it this past Sunday? I think he won Sunday or Saturday. He won another one. I mean,
he's taken 3 of them down that are all the top prizes are pretty substantial, pretty nice prizes in the past 2 weeks. And then, he got ran over by a hurricane. Yeah.
So in case you're wondering where Caleb is at, he actually lives in New Orleans or just outside New Orleans. He is safe. I know he's staying with his girlfriend's family right now. They have a generator, so he's got power at least. Last I heard, he said that he doesn't expect to get power at his apartment for weeks. I believe he had
3 weeks. Yes. Yeah. 3 weeks. Yeah.
Which if I don't have power for 3 hours, I'm ready to just riot. So I can only imagine. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have him back, soon-ish. We'll see what happens. But yeah, and then I guess the last thing, last kind of little housekeeping thing, for any of you guys who are going to be out at Kentucky Downs, I will be in Kentucky Downs in 9 days. So I'll be flying into Louisville on the 10th.
You're flying into Louisville?
So I'm flying into Louisville because Putty Clark, he's loading up the mobile. He's going to pick up cash on the way, and he's going to drive on down from Michigan. And so he's like, hey, we're going to stay in Louisville. So I had points, and I'm like, whatever. It's going to basically free flight. So I booked that, and we're going to stay down there on Friday. So and then drive up to the track. It's a 2-hour drive, I think. So we'll drive there Saturday morning, get up there. And Cash doesn't know it yet, but he's probably going to be playing DD. So he's going to have to drive back, but we'll see. But then I fly back Sunday. So just kind of quick little weekend trip. So it should be fun. But if anybody's going to be out there on the 11th, let me know.
I actually may. But I'm going to fly into Nashville. So hang out with Capone. So
yeah, it'll probably make more sense to go into Nashville. But Putty's like, hey, we'll pick you up from the airport. He just set it up so nicely. I was like, well, okay. And so I'm going to be doing that. But that should be fun. But enough of that. Let's get into it.
I'm jealous of your planning.
You're not going to put up that comment from one Stephen Fox?
Well, oh yeah, maybe I can stop in Arlington along the way to make up lost time. I was supposed to meet up Vengi this weekend at Arlington, but and Brian, this will make sense to you because you know the area. He's staying in downtown Chicago this weekend. He's got a thing. I don't know if he's visiting family or what he's got going on. He's got something going on, but it's out in McHenry. but he's staying in downtown Chicago. So he's got to go down from Chicago out to McHenry and then back. And I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing, man? Like staying in Chicago, but
Maybe he can stop at the Arlington Starbucks and get a frappe on his way back.
But so I might meet him up for dinner. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But let's.
How come nobody ever comes to Northern Indiana? Just one time. There's nothing here.
If you want to meet up at the Horseshoe,
I'm still waiting for you to come check out Hard Rock.
Oh, that's right. It's brand new, right? And Gary.
It is in Gary, but it's actually, you can see it from 8094, so you can be in and out of Gary in 4 minutes.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better about that.
No fear.
But yeah, let's get started. Let's get into capping this pick 5 here. We're gonna start here with some stakes races, or at least a stakes race, and then I think we get 2 kind of allowance type races, and then we go straight into 2 more stakes. But the Saranac here, mile and 16th on the inner turf. Your morning line favorite is going to be the Chad Brown trained number 1 Clarovich Stables Public Sector. And just behind, you got the 4 Todd Pletcher trained Never Surprised. It's going to be 8-5 coming off a 200+ day layoff. Mark, where did you kind of land here? I know we talked a little bit before the show, but
I think you have to kind of start and end at Public Sector. Public Sector has a win, one last out at a mile on the inner at Saratoga in the Hall of Fame. But the one thing that you kind of have to scratch your head at is this horse has tried going, 8.5 twice now, and has kind of ended up just short the last 2 times, both in the Pilgrim and then optional 80 down at Belmont. So you kind of wonder if maybe this is a touch too far. And I imagine this horse will end up taking quite a bit of money in here, being kind of the logical Chad with, not really a ton of speed, but, a Chad with a favorable rail position. I ended up landing on Never Surprised on the Pletcher horse. Either of those, if the horse can run back to either of those Aqueduct turf races in November of 2020, should win this quite easily. Kind of flop with the Kitten's Joy down at Gulfstream Park. I sort of wonder, occasionally horses just don't handle that Gulfstream Park turf course. And, this one has a win at the distance quite impressively on that Central Park. I do understand as well that the Aqueduct turf can also play a little funky. So is there a chance those figures are a little fluffed? Maybe. But, I think Never Surprised with Sayas up. It seems like Todd Pletcher is using Sayas on a lot of his really live turf mounts. And, to me, this is the horse that, speed of the speed should get super loose. I can think about no one better on the front end, of a turf race than Luis Sayas right now of doling out fractions, putting everybody to sleep behind you and sprinting for home. So, I'm really, Todd Pletcher doesn't scare me on a long layoff, so I think Never Surprises where I'll land, and I won't try to reinvent the wheel in this race.
Yeah, I had Never Surprised kind of written down as a with I didn't, and if you guys have seen, I kind of it's an A I'm not like crazy about, but what ends up happening is he pretty much became like the only A I had in here. I had a couple other horses I was a little interested in, so I don't know how I'm going to structure this yet. I hate to use the 1 and the 4 here unless I have real strong opinions elsewhere. So, if it comes down to it, like maybe I use both horses here, but probably not. And of the short prices, Public Sector is going to be the one I'm going to be against. On Briz, this horse just does not look fast enough. And I know you said, he's tried 8.5 and, didn't really like it much. I mean, the horse is bred to go longer. I mean, this horse is bred to go, 10 furlongs plus. So I'm a little interested to see. I mean, it's interesting that, they haven't tried stretching this horse out more, unless Chad really thinks that this horse can't get more than a mile, which might be the case. But especially on the bottom side, he's got a ton of distance, but I mean, right now, the way I kind of see it is I kind of agree with you. I think 4 Never surprised. I'm a little concerned about the layoff, but it's probably gonna be my lone A here. I got two other horses that I do like. The other Chad Founder at 4-1, I think is probably just as fast as the one on, at least on the figures I'm looking at. And I mean, you're going to be getting a much better price. You're getting double the price on this horse. So if I'm going to use a horse as a B, it's going to be this horse. And I'm still interested in like the King. I know stretching horses out isn't exactly Wesley's thing. The two tries that this horse has had on the grass have been on good or soft turf. Now, might end up soft again, and if that's the case, maybe this isn't a horse I take a look at. Maybe I leave it off if it comes up real soft. But I want to see this horse run on firm turf, and I think you're going to get a decent enough price on the two like the King. What do you think, Brian?
I was all about the 5 until you started talking about it, because I kept diving deeper and deeper. Obviously the 4, you guys said everything you can about the 4. I want to spin it kind of a different way here, and I keep looking at the 6, Mose, and I'm not sure why. It's one of those horses where I'm kind of drawn to. Obviously, pretty large step up here in something that you think doesn't matter. So, at 12-1, it feels like a horse that, if the pace situation sets up right, why can't this horse win? I figure, everybody's going to be looking at the 4 to be a speed type horse. The 6 has some, I don't want to say speed, but, do I dare say, tactical ability
tactical
here?
Yeah.
Maybe the horse figured it out 20 days ago at Monmouth on firm turf, 8.5. Maybe there's something there. But when you look at who Patrick McBurney, in his last 34 starts, he's had 4 wins and 8 places. So his barn's firing well. He gets Tyler aboard, and at 12-1, why not? The Chads are going to take all the money, and I'm just completely going opposite here and looking for a price in a race that probably doesn't give one.
It is important to note that we do have the fabled Z pattern here on Mose here. It looks like broke out a little slow, made up a little bit more ground, and then it looks like he steadied at the turn, and then made up ground and won. So maybe that fig would have came back a little bit better if the horse stayed out of trouble. I mean, I don't know, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the one last thing is I think in this sequence I didn't want to overthink the stakes races, which I think was what Brian was sort of alluding to. But I think the 9th and the 10th are where you can find some prices. So I know Steven is giving me flack in chat there for or I guess he was giving Josh flack in chat for wanting to use the 2 short priced horses. But I think if the 2 short priced horses win this 90% of the time, it's fine to use both of them if you think you have some opinions that lead to some prices in some of the middle legs, which I do. See,
and that's the thing is when I looked at the later race, I thought they were much more straightforward than this race. Which had me landing on chalk. So that's kind of why I was a little bit hesitant still to use both. And like I said, I'm not really interested in the one. I should just leave it off. I need to leave it off from a ticket construction standpoint, but the one can certainly win. Way too short of a price to take a shot there. But let's move on. We got an allowance race here, state bred allowance. These always tend to have a nice calamity factor here. We're going to be going to mile 16th on the turf for fillies and mares. Okay, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't like some weird 3-year-old race. This one, I actually had a bit of a price as an A in this spot. I actually kind of like the 3 here, looking to fly. Luis Saez, Joe Sharp. Now, I know the horse just broke its maiden, is moving up in class. But if you kind of look at a lot of these other horses, I mean, they just have not won in a while. I mean, and they're just out of form. And I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, new shooter. Horse won on this course, whereas everybody else is, not run. And it's like Tax Me Not won 2 back, but on dirt in Finger Lakes, now running on the turf. Like, Golden Oldie was another one I kind of looked at a little bit. Kind of same thing, coming in off a win. But, I mean, it's a claiming 30 in Monmouth versus, breaking your maiden at Saratoga. Like, yeah, I know class doesn't matter, but I'm guessing that he went up against a slightly better horses. And also, horse did on the engine with a real slow pace. So, it might get those Naira fractions here, but the thing is I bet these horses probably can close a little better than what he was facing there, or she was facing there, rather. I did like the part of the entry, the 1A as well, Kara's Dreamer. And this was more just like kind of like a speed figure, and class. I don't know. Like, the horse has at least been hanging around in these types of races, and just hasn't been completely getting blown out. So, maybe just finally drew a soft enough field in the spot that'll go ahead and move this horse forward. But I think most of my money's gonna be going through this 3 looking to fly.
Yeah, were you going to say something, Brian?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I have a counter argument to Josh there, so.
Okay. What I was going to say is that the 2 favorites in this race, you have a 3-1 on the morning line horse and a 5-2 on the morning line horse, are combined 2 for 22 lifetime. There are no win machines in here, and I think this is the race where you go fishing for that new face and that new shooter who's a bit of a price. And I think for me, that's the 6. Just okay is not okay. That 2-back win with Size Up was quite impressive. Was a pretty decent number. And the figure came back fairly strong. This horse, at least on the figs that I'm looking at, has effectively improved every single race. If you watch that last race, that allowance race at Saratoga, going this distance on the surface, so this guy's spin across the surface to try it out. That horse had every bit of trouble that you could possibly invent, was 4 wide around both corners, got steadied brutally early. It's like, a trip capper's dream, back type horse. So I thought something like Just Okay is Not Okay was the horse that I probably want the most of. The other horses I was really interested in here were Electric Youth, the 2, the Kimmel horse on the rail. Takes blinkers off, should hopefully settle a little better. And was actually keeping some decently okay company in that stakes race last summer. Mike's Girl is actually a pretty darn good horse. Was in, obviously See a Streamer and Freedom Machine were both in that as well, but, keeping some fairly decent company. And the other horse I thought was a little interesting here was Freedom Machine. Obviously, I'm talking about these horses that don't like to win, and this is another one of the ones that really doesn't like to win. But you do have a barn change, and if you ignore the fact that the horse was a maiden for Barbara Minshall for 1 million races, and then got into the Schlosselsberger barn, second race out, broke that maiden. So I would kind of disregard some of those first 8 or 10 races, just probably in the wrong barn. They didn't know what to do with the horse. Now they seem to be in a place that sort of has it figured out, and Lascano always rides pretty decent on turf. So those were 3 horses that were all a bit of prices that I thought were really interesting in this spot.
See, I'm not going to argue with you, but Jay said something in chat I want to touch on real quick, and that's is the 4 Lone Speed. The 4 has 1 start on turf and is coming to turf here, so it's going to handicap a lot different on paper as far as what the connections decide to do with the 4 there. At first glance, I agree with you completely. The horse looks like Lone Speed, but chances are they're not going to have that approach here. It would be my guess in a turf race.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before that turf speed is very different than dirt speed.
Agreed. So I just wanted to say something because Jay just said that in chat, and I wanted to call it out just in case anybody else is wondering the same thing.
I mean, and I don't know so much about Freud on the bottom, but I mean, Lemon Drop Kid on top. So I mean, it's got some turf pedigree at least. So yeah, and Jay tricked me because he was talking about the 4 in 2 different races. I highlighted the wrong thing, but I got him there. He also likes he likes the 6 the most. So, but he, I think, has got like 4 or 5 other horses in this race that he likes. But yeah, continue, Brian.
And then, Josh, you had said something about the 1A Kara's Dreamer. And while the horse is not exactly a win machine, as Mark pointed out, I would like to, I mean, if you believe in horses that, keep going against each other, I think it was Mark who said all these horses have found mixed competition. Kara's Dreamer beat the 7 last out. I mean, didn't win, but beat that horse, 2 months ago, finish in front of the 2, the 6, and the 7. So is the 1A Kara's Dreamer the better horse in this field based on what the last 6 months have told us? Maybe so, but at 5-2, I don't know how you could comfortably say, oh yeah, I'm going to bet Dylan Davis and a Mitchell Friedman horse on the turf. I just don't know if I could do it.
What's wrong with Mitchell Friedman? What did he ever do to you?
Nothing. Well, he's a 3% trainer for to start with,
right? And he's putting Dylan Davis aboard on turf, which I like Dylan. Don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against Dylan. It's just on turf. He's an 8% jock on turf. So those combinations on a horse that's probably going to be 2-1, I would much rather look elsewhere. So with that being said, I do like the 6 also. I think the 6, and then, sorry, Josh, I hear you scrolling, and then the 7. Those are the 2 horses that I landed on here. Mark touched on Freedom Machine, but the 6, Just Okay, is not okay. I think might benefit here from a little bit of pace, and I expect the 6 to be a little forwardly placed, but should probably be able to sit behind like the 1, the 8, maybe the 4, depending on what the connections do. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the horse come not late, but my patent and middle move strategy to win the race. And if you look at a lot of the times and the turn times and whatever you want to say, how the horse quickens in the turn. And that's something that I'd like to see. So at what should be a good price in the 6, at 8-1 morning line, we'll probably get a lot more than that. But I mean, Todd and I on an 8-1 horse. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the horse ran into trouble last time out too. I don't know how much, but it looks like there's a note that studied. So
one of us might have said that.
No.
Well, yeah, if you look at the horse's last 3 out, he was 5 wide with Kendrick aboard, and then 2 back, he was bumped hard, and he was 3 wide in the turn with Luis, and then he was studied last out and 3 wide in the turn. I think it's interesting that Irad gets the mount here. So, maybe this horse is more live than the morning line is going to tell us.
Still trying to figure out how an English channel over a distorted humor is a New York bred, but rules are meant to be broken, right?
Yeah. I do like the 7 a bit here. I have a question mark. It might be more of a B type horse for me. I know we didn't really talk about this 10 much, but I was just like, what? 5-2 in the morning line for this horse? Like, I have no idea. Like, this horse is not going to be any of my tickets. So I'm sure that I'm putting this horse right in the winner's circle. But
see,
yeah,
I English B hates winning.
I do like the 10. I think the 10 makes sense, but the donk barn has been cold, and it's just, again, it's one of those things at 2.5, 5-2 in the morning line. Why? There's probably other options here, and I don't think a bomb's going to win this race like Mark does. I do think it's going to be the second tier on the odds board, but we'll see what happens.
Any love for the 3 in here, Brian? Maiden Breaker right back. Stays at the same distance. Broke her maiden earlier this meet. Second start in the Joe Sharp barn. Joe Sharp is about as hot as anybody gets right now, and looks like Saya's had choice. I mean, I don't know if he was taken off the 6 or if he had choice and stuck with the 3, but seems to be, the horse is not fast enough on paper on that last performance, but I have a feeling that was a little bit geared down, and it seems like honest enough fractions, but is there more in the tank there?
It's one of those things. The horse won last out by going from sprints to routes, right? So to me, it's a little hard to sit there and say, yes, I would play that horse. You know, if you're playing a mythical tournament or, you know, stable duel, but oh crap, I can't say that. You know, this is the kind of horse you'd play. But, you know, man, I don't know. I get what you're saying, Mark. You can make a strong argument for looking to fly. It's just I'd like to see more. You know, looking at how the horse historically ran, was last time out an anomaly, or is this horse preferring, you know, a mile and 16th? That's the question I can't answer, and I do think the horse might get out kicked here, or be too far back early and find himself in some trouble.
Yeah, that's exactly my take as well, Brian, almost to a T. But I just thought it was a horse that was worth consideration, just giving connections.
I mean, it's my lone A in the spot, so or lone clear A. I might use, like I said, I might use the 1A a little bit as well. The short price, that's the other one I like, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the 3. But yeah, let's keep going. We got 6.5 furlongs here on the dirt, $103,000 allowance. Non-winners of anything but what, claiming or state bred. So,
hey, Josh, can we play that game where I guess what horse you're on?
Sure. Who do you think I'm on?
I'm gonna guess you're on the 8.
I have the 3 as an A. I have the 8 as a bigger A, and then I got a little bit of crowded trade. Yeah, I thought this one came up a little formful. I didn't know what to do with the 3. The 3 is one that I'm gonna have to look on other. I'm gonna have to look on other PPs and just kind of to get a good sense of where this 3 kind of fits in, because I see 5-2. Like, I think the horse can win. I think the horse is definitely a contender in here, but I don't know if that's just like too short of a price. It might just be one that, you know, I take because I definitely think that this is a real big win candidate. I mean, that last fig on Briz just looks gaudy. But I'll have to look and see if that matches up with other ones. Not so much to like, you know, that like I base it strictly off the figs, but like when I see an anomaly like that, like I kind of just like I like to like double check. I'm like, you know, is there something there that maybe I didn't see or I'm missing? I definitely like Baby Yoda though. Baby Yoda is similar fig on Briz at least to the 3, and you're getting a much better price. And I'm going to go back to the crowded trade well. I know Chad on the dirt is not my favorite thing to bet, but I usually just don't like Chad on the dirt when he's overbet. I mean, he can definitely train a dirt horse. It's not like, you know, he's had some pretty good ones, but you know, he usually gets super overbet to odds that I don't, you know, feel comfortable backing. He's 5-1 on the morning line here, and at that price, I'm a little interested. You know, they tried stretching this horse out, and it, you know, didn't really seem to work. The horse just kind of, you know, was finishing 3rd and 5th, and so I think the cutback's going to be good. You know, the Amsterdam came up sloppy, so I don't want to make any assumptions there, but did finish 3rd behind Drain the Clock and Jackie's Warrior, who in this spot would be huge favorites, either of them. So yeah, I'm going to go back to this crowded trade well. I think the price is right. So I'm going to use the 9, the 8, and the 3. Brian, what are you thinking?
Well, you know, I seem to like horses that put Lasix on for the first time, and I seem to like Bill Mott horses. So I landed here on the 6, Olympiad. I know the horse has been off for a year. You know, I do like the workout pattern. The horse has had consistent workouts since July 17th. I think the horse is going to come in form. And then Lasix, you know, I'm not sure. You know, I don't have the stats in front of me for Bill Mott when he makes this move, but it's one of those things that I'm interested to watch. I think the horse ran well last year at 7 furlongs.
22%.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably close to profitable move for.
It is not a positive ROI move.
Really? See, I thought his odds would be tall enough in New York to carry that through. But either way, I still think the horse, looked good last year. And, is it one of those angles where, hey, maybe the horse loves Saratoga and can run? But give me the Lasix, give me the Bill Mott horse with a nice workout pattern, and maybe we see a price here. The other horse I kind of liked a touch was the 10 Hometown. But obviously, there's not much we can say about the 10. It's a Chad Brown with Luis aboard. Sloppy last out, so I can excuse that one. What kind of concerns me here is this horse has been all over in distance, right? 6 furlongs, 9, 7, 8.5, 8. Are they searching for spots here? Is Chad overthinking Chad here, where he's trying to perfectly place the horse and he's got one win to show for it? I'm not really sure, but at 4-1, why not? In this situation, the only downside on Hometown would be the post position. I think the post positions on the outside at Saratoga and sprints have not been that good, and that would be pause for me. But again, I'll see what the tote says and make a decision. Probably, early on.
Yeah, I think you guys covered most of the major players in here. Josh, if you go back to the 3 Ducal, one thing I would note with that horse is that if you believe that last out figure, that horse should win by 7 or 8 lengths in here. That horse should destroy this field. Brad Cox is a real smart trainer. He knows what he has. If Brad Cox thought that figure was legitimate and that horse was that good, this horse would be in a stakes today. He would find a stake somewhere to stick this horse in, because there's lots of options, but he's taken and putting this one in kind of a somewhat, an N1X allowance. Yeah, there's a big purse on it, but he could get some black type on this one probably but he's protecting it here. So I have a feeling, and also going back to the debut distance, which is interesting because they've been running a lot of 7 furlong races, and there are stakes options. So my gut kind of tells me that this one might not, either that figure may be bad or this one might not. He may have just sort of tripped out in the last and had a visually impressive performance with a fig that came back big, and we're kind of getting fooled as handicappers. 2 horses that are a bit of a price that I want to talk about that you guys didn't talk about. The first one is the 1 horse Tuggle. Horse that has barely missed last 3 out. On figures, that last effort really isn't, if you throw Ducal's last fig out, that last figure out at Tuggle is pretty darn good. And it looked like Arad had options in here. It looks like he could have landed on, I saw a couple of others in here. He could have probably stayed on Hometown, but he gets off from Chad, who he rides everything for on dirt, to ride for Jeremiah Englehart on the 1 horse. So alarm bells go off for me there that maybe this one is really primed and really ready to go in this spot. Obviously long layoffs. This one's obviously had some soundness issues, but I have a feeling if this one's ready to go, this might be a really loaded spot. And the other one I was really kind of interested in here was the 12 Staying Out Late. This one's been off since May. First back, Asmussen's finding a bit of a softer spot here, I would think, to put this one into. And this is a fairly lightly raced 3-year-old who I think has some real upside. If you're a time form person, effectively improved every single start of his career, and they're cutting this one back in distance to what the pedigree sort of. Well, first thing, the horse is perfect, going 6.5, and the pedigree sort of says that this is probably a really good distance for this one. So I thought Staying Out Late was fairly interesting for a barn that Asmussen's been grinding out his 22%, and he hasn't been as peaky as others. He's been really consistent all meet. So I think this one at 12-1 is kind of an interesting price play.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, especially if you look at the horses that were in that optional claimer. I mean, Mr. Wireless came back and won the West Virginia Derby. And then Bahan Rum, I think he's running a couple of stakes races, I think, or at least He hasn't won, but I know I think he was a stakes horse as well. So got a little bit of class in there. So yeah, I don't hate it. I've already said like I like class like 3 times today, so it must really be opposite day or something. I don't know what's going on. Brian looks really confused.
Well, it's not your normal Charleston card. It's closing weekend at Saratoga, so class is going to look obvious on paper, I think.
All right, so the flower bowl here. For some reason, I was like looking at the abbreviation and I saw a V and I got confused. But the flower bowl. The return of Ryder Dave's favorite horse, Warlike Goddess, 4 to 5 on the morning line. And really, this race comes down to what do you think of Warlike Goddess? Because you sure as heck ain't going to use the 4 or 5 horse and some other horse in the spot. I think that I'm going to be ending this sequence with 2 singles, and one of them is Warlike Goddess. Here are the 3. I mean, the horse is won on his closing a slow pace, closing a fast pace. I mean, this is like probably one of the favorites for the Filly and Mare Turf coming up. So, I mean, I can't really say anything bad about this horse. I think you single and you move on. Mark, what do you think?
I tried to get her under in the Glens Falls. I failed miserably. She was amazingly impressive in that race. And I think he just kind of, I will have some other horses probably as C's, just for that calamity hedge. But yeah, I mean, 95% of my money will go through Warlike Goddess.
Brian.
So allow me to be different because that's usually what I do here, right? The 1 goes wire to wire.
You like the 1 going wire to wire, La Signore. I'm going to be honest with you, Brian. For the first time I looked at this race, before I realized Warlike Goddess is in this race, I kind of agreed. That, like, I think if I were to zag in any way, shape, or form, it would be the 1 La Signore. Because once again, this does look like kind of a paceless race, don't you think, Brian?
That's how I got there. You've got a bunch of horses that don't normally lead, but I think, the best chance for the 1 La Sig, I can't say it, so I'm just going to say the 1. The best chance for the 1 to win is for Ricardo Santana Jr. to run. And you look at a lot of these horses and you've got, I don't want to say deep closers because they're not really deep closers, but the greatest challenges here are, the 3 and the 6, and they're both late runners. So, maybe the 5, it's one of those things, Lovely Lucky, maybe could push the pace early and offer some resistance, but man, I want the 1 to go wire to wire, and it probably won't happen because I'm talking about it so much, but it wouldn't surprise me.
No, I agree with you, Brian. The 1 was one of the ones that I wanted at a bit of a price, and the other one was the 2, American Bridge. This is a horse owned by Peter Brandt with Jean-Claude Roguet training. This is a Chad Brown horse. This horse is in the Chad Brown barn. They just haven't announced the trainer change yet. That's, what's going on here, quite obviously. Arad hops up, obviously in the Chad Brown barn. This one could be really super live here. I don't know the company she was keeping. Obviously she's Sincero in Italy, and this is sort of 2nd and 3rd tier. Now she did race at Deauville, did okay there, but this is for the most part 2nd and 3rd tier European horses, and not getting Lasix here, but kind of a little bit interesting over why are you here unless you're just in the Chad Brown barn after this.
Do you think Irad's going to come out with like spatulas and be like knocking bullets around? Okay, that was like a real bad. Like, isn't there a movie where like Jean-Claude Van Damme comes out
Oh, that's what you were
with
going
like a
with.
spatula
Okay.
or something, and he's like knocking bullets around? Am I just like imagining that?
By the way, Josh,
Yeah.
you also should highlight Jay's quote.
Yeah, I
July
did. I did
17th
see
quote,
that.
because that is actually a really, really, really interesting point, and he's spot on with it. So
Yeah, so Jay said July 17th last time the Ducati and Baby Yoda ran. Every dirt race was won by horses within one length at the first call. Now, if you've read the book Betting with an Edge, Mike Maloney talks about that kind of record keeping. He's very much about like almost like keeping like a database or of keeping notes on days like that. I mean, he is biased to a T. It's actually really funny because I know Jay watches Papo streams, and you can check him out on the Shake Up. I think he's still playing Gulfstream during the day. But Papo is a very, very big bias player, and it's funny because I was like, Papo, have you ever read this book? Like all the stuff you say is like, what's in this book? And he's like, no. He's like, I've never read that book. Like, what are you talking about? But it's very, very much, hey, look at that. We don't really do. I don't do it as much. I've been doing more and more replay kind of work and keeping notes on that and trips. I know Chase used to do a lot of it. Shout out to our fallen, well, not fallen, but former co-host here, Chase. He would always be big, especially on like the Los Al rail shippers, keeping a database of those guys and then keeping the database of people who ran against the bias. I remember Brian, you were also part of keeping that database. Good old Biff. Shout out to pour one out for Biff there. But yeah, I mean that's something important to note. Like, hey, how was the track playing when these ran? But like, I always feel like bias is one of those things you got to live. You live and die by it. Like if you think you see a bias, like you got to fire, and like sometimes the bias ain't there. So, but there definitely have been a couple of days at Saratoga where it's just like speed is just like unkillable. So, and I did see. You notice that Caleb isn't here, but you do see who's in chat. Jared Bush,
the one and only.
The one and only. So guess what, Jared? You can put all your picks out, babe. There's no way Caleb can steal them now. There's no way he can steal them now.
Let me text Caleb whatever Jared puts out there.
Oh, man.
Hey, for the record, on July 17th, yes, the forwardly placed horses won, but mathematically, I don't think the track was super speed favoring based on the variant that I've been tracking. It was kind of neutral. It just was a little forwardly placed race day.
I'll tell you what, man. That the Wednesday that we were in Saratoga, Mark, the day I hit that pick six, the only reason I think I hit it was because of how speed favoring that track was. Because it was just like every horse that got out in front was just won. And I think like you and Caleb would have hit. There was just like one horse that you guys didn't.
Yeah,
like
one horse we didn't use. Yeah.
It was just like it was nuts. But all right. Yeah, Mark, I was interested in this too a little bit as possibly like a C type. Only because I didn't know. I mean, and like I read the board, like I'm not even familiar with this trainer, like not one who normally ships many over. So like,
yeah, he's sort of a C tier European trainer. He's not a big name.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just weird. And it says Jared says he's gonna be in Vegas in February. Could use a lot of help for Gulfstream then. You know what, Jared? I'll tell you what, man. Aria Sportsbook in February, awesome. Like you want to play Gulfstream, like you got the whole place to yourself. I was there, man, when was it? Probably like 2 years ago. And it was just me, and it was this like this is a just Jamaican dude playing the dogs. And I just remember he turned to me at one race and he's like, who you like in this race, in the Gulfstream race? And I gave him like an exacta box or whatever, and I went up and I played it for like $5 and it hit. And he turned, and so he's watching the race and the hits. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me it was going to hit?" I'm like, "You asked me who I liked. Like, am I supposed to tell you? Like, oh, I like this bet, and this bet is going to hit as well." But Ari is beautiful. Check it out. Service there's always really good, especially in the morning if you're going to bet horses. So
you actually do talk to real people when you go to Vegas. It's just not Discord.
Yeah, he just doesn't talk with his actual friends. He just talks with random Jamaicans.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of random Jamaicans. All right,
real quick before you move on, there's 5 horses. I got to talk about all 5. Did either one of you talk about Great Island?
No, and that like,
why?
I looked at him, but like it's just like one of those things where it's like you can either like I don't know, like it's like you can either get the plate of fried rice, right, or you can get like the 3 appetizers, right? You're not going to do both. Okay, maybe you are going to do both. That's a bad analogy, but yeah, I don't know.
Did you just call Brian fat? Did you just call Brian fat?
I didn't call him fat, but like I just thought about the order I had at Panda Express the other day, and I was just like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't talk. But
yeah, so on Great Island is A, too slow, and B, has sort of been exposed as being more of a G3 type, and this isn't a G3. Not that we want to say class for like the 4th time in our show, but this horse just isn't classy enough and not fast enough, right? Black type G3, maybe this kind of a race? No. I don't want to say it's a fake Chad. I mean,
the Monmouth Chad. That's literally like the textbook definition of a fake Chad.
Okay, it's probably a fake Chad. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys talking the 6 into the winner circle here.
Because you like the 6, you love the 6.
Would you bet the 6 at 4-1? Would you bet the 6? You'd have to be nuts to.
The 6 isn't going to be 4-1.
Right, Josh is right. The 6 is not going to be 4-1. You're probably going to get 7-1.
It's 7-1.
I would go that far.
And yes, the 6 is not fast enough, but it's an 11 furlong race. You don't have to be fast. I do think the 6 has,
turn a foot.
I do. It may be slow overall, but I think, how the horse runs fits the stretch out here.
So Jared said he's a professional craps player, so that explains a lot. But he says he'll take Luis Saez. He likes a 7. I just think the 7's not. I don't think the 7's fast enough and hasn't really run against horses this good. It is interesting though, right? That Saez, I mean, with all these like, semi-decent horses, that Saez ends up on a Sherry DeVoe horse. I mean, unless he's still just not getting that first call. Like, I don't know. Like, have people not watched Saez ride on the turf at Saratoga? Like, are people still sleeping on him? Like, I don't understand. But let's take a look at chat. It's a lot of Jared. Oh, yeah. And Jay said that Witt did come off the pace that day. But that was Witt. I know I saw people saying that they think Witt's the best 2-year-old going right now.
I did everything I could to try and beat that horse and failed miserably.
Yeah. Jason, the only time the 6s ran well was in the slow-paced race. Does not know if it means much in this race. I mean, there isn't a lot of pace in this race. I mean, maybe that does set up for the 6. Maybe the 6 might put in a good effort here. I just think that the 3 has won slow pace. I mean, I don't think it matters. I think the 3 is just going to get out in the clear and run away and hide. I was really interested in My Sister Nat. I know we were moving on, but My Sister Nat the 4. I was very interested in My Sister Nat last time out. Finished second. I mean, maybe I'll go back to the well with an exacta. More like Goddess over My Sister Nat. I believe that's what Writer Dave did. I think he hit a nice exacta with that. Yeah. Maybe use more like Goddess with the 2 Chads. I don't know.
All I know is the 2 and the 4 should be coupled. There, I said it.
The 2 and the 4 should be coupled?
Yep. You'll see it.
In this race or next race?
This race. They're not, but they should be. They have the same owner. That's why.
You think the 2's probably a rabbit here?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming as well. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's why Chad's not listed as the trainer for the 2.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
you were a little more direct.
But I thought
Let's call it
there's
what
no
it is.
coupling in stakes races.
There is no coupling in stakes races.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have mattered.
I think it's probably. I think there have been people complaining about it, and there's been some very public complaints about it. And I think this keeps it a little bit more subtle.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like the only time that a rabbit really affects things, if Mead Mary was in this race, then I would be upset. Then as a Mead Mary backer, like possibly you could be upset, right? Like because that horse is going to burn Mead Mary up, and there's no way that horse wins. But I mean, oh darn, Warlike Goddess is going to have more pace to run into. Like I don't know. I'm not going to get too torn up by it. I know Chase was getting all fired up about that a couple weeks back, but it's just like, look, if you're going to put a rabbit out there, like whatever, you got to pay the fee, to put your horse in there to run as a rabbit. Like it helps every closer. It doesn't just help your closer. I mean, unless you can somehow find a turf race where you're the only deep closer, like which you won't be able to tell. Like I wouldn't worry. I don't worry about too much about that, but. There's lots of things that get me fired up in horse racing, and I'll tell you, the people using rabbits is probably like the lowest thing on the list that I could possibly have.
Now, if you own the horse, you would completely feel differently. If you own the 5, if you're Elizabeth Mateo, and you say, okay, my horse runs well on the lead, and now all of a sudden you have this fake pressure from a huge barn, that's a difference maker for these smaller barns, and it does not give them an equal playing field with the big barns. That's it. That's my only complaint about it is these smaller operations are just getting squeezed out.
Let me rewind. As a bettor, I don't get that fired up about it. But yeah, I mean, horse ownership is not exactly something that I know much about or have much interest in. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I probably would not be. I probably would not be feeling all warm and fuzzy if I owned a horse that was on the lead and the rabbit got entered. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, and Jay is saying, yeah, he thinks a 2 is sending as well. So, yeah, not the only one with that thought. Jockey Club Gold Cup. I will tell you what, this is definitely a field of horses. We got 6 of them.
There are 6 horses that they are, I'm assuming, all horses. I don't know how they can all lose, but boy, if there's ever a field where all 6 should lose, this is it.
No, there's one horse in here that is like absolutely, like I think 9-5 is a joke on Happy Saver. I think Happy Saver is going to be odds on. This is a single lone A. I literally don't see how this horse loses this. Like this horse should not lose this race. Something stupid's going to happen probably, and I'm going to be dead. But this horse should not lose this race.
Huh?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
This is a bad favorite. This is a horse I play to beat.
Well, he's a second choice.
Yeah, I would very much play to beat him. Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, your confidence. I mean, from a pace standpoint, okay, I'm just real quick. Maybe the 6 is your first call leader. Okay. From there, the 5 and 6 are going to lead these horses around the track. And then you've got the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 all coming late. And the 4 is historically faded time-wise. He may win, but is that being throttled down, or is that the horse tiring out at the longer distances? We don't know. We're going to find out, but at, 9-5, whatever it's going to be, there's no way. For me.
Really?
And that's my rant. Sorry. I think there's, but I also like a horse that's 5-1 in the morning line. So maybe I'm the crazy one. I like the 5. I like Night Ops.
Yep.
I think Night Ops is coming in the best form of this entire field. And you look at some of the competition this horse has had. I think Night Ops is going to be poised. I think Brad Cox is going to have this horse ready. It's a huge race. And, this is Manny Franco's second time in a row aboard this horse. So that's where I landed. If I was going to single somebody, I'm singling the 5 here, and I'm going to press my luck.
I think for me, this is a spread race. I'm going to be 4 deep in here. I'll be 1, 2, 4, 5 in here. Will be skinny other places so that I can spread here because I think this race is just crazy flat, and I think that there is I mean, honestly, Josh, you did this to Caleb and I last week, and you were right. So I will give it to you if you love one, and whatever. But I'll throw credit where it's due. But I just, I mean, I can sort of poke holes in every single horse in this race, and when that sort of thing happens, I want to be a little bit spread out. And like I said, I will be willing to play skinnier other legs so that I can spread here and be alive. And I think you're going to have 3 horses in this race that are all about the same price when the gates pop. I really think Forza de Oro, Max Player, and Happy Saver will be very close to being all co-favorites.
I mean, I thought for a while Happy Saver was the second best older horse going. So, I mean,
I have the same questions that Brian does. I mean, I think his Suburban was a bit fluffed on the fact that it was an off track. He wins, but man, he does not do so impressive. It doesn't really do so impressively. And I mean, who's he really beat? Mystic Guide twice, but I think we know who Mystic Guide is at this point. And who else? Tacitus? I mean, like he's beat a bunch of G3 horses. He hasn't beat anybody of any real caliber.
I mean, Mystic Guide's the second best older horse in training right now. So
there's not a lot. I mean,
there's Nick Sko and there's Mystic Guide, right? Like, I don't know.
The older male division's terrible.
I mean, older, yeah, because I probably would put Essential Quality above Mystic Guide at this point. But
yeah, there's an argument that there's 4 or 5 3-year-olds who are better than anyone else in the older division at this point.
Not the Nick Sko, come on.
Not the Nick Sko.
Here.
Yeah. Okay, not the Nick Sko. But there's Nick Sko, and then there's probably 4 or 5 3-year-olds.
Jared's going for the connections angle on night ops here. He says 33% win rate on Brad Cox and Manny Franco. So he's going to play connections there. I don't know, man. I really didn't look at this long. I thought I looked at this and I was like, Happy Saver. Like, maybe if it comes up sloppy, then like I'm changing my mind, and maybe I just go with the 1. I did see Jay's a big fan of the 1 here because it's his favorite angle. Lifetime best, small layoff, up in class. He likes the 1, Forza de Oro.
Well, Forza de Oro has also won 3 in a row, and Forza de Oro seems to be improving kind of every start the last 3. And I know Brian was saying, I think that he thought this horse would come from more off the pace. I think this is probably your most likely pace setter. Doesn't Forza de Oro kind of inherit a lead in here? Inside drawn speed?
Perhaps. I have it capped as the 4 and 6, maybe. I do, you look at the running lines and the 1's going to be right there. But I think to win the race, I think someone between the 4 and this, or did I say 6? I did not say 6, did I?
You did say 6.
Yeah.
You'd be really confused with your 6.
Yeah. No, I did not mean to say 6. I completely clicked.
You meant the 4, I think. Yeah.
I did. The 4. I think the 4, man. Continue. Sorry. I had a complete brain fart there. I completely spaced out my thought process after I said
No, you're good. Mark, I'm a little surprised though that you're going to go 4 wide here and you're going to leave off Chess Chief. I mean, do you just think there's not enough pace in here?
I think there's not enough pace in here, and I think even I mean, on his best day, maybe he gets there. I just think he's been a little off form lately. And, the figures on his best racers are what? He's got, that optional 40 at the fairgrounds, and then he barely got up in the New Orleans Classic. Besides that, his figures just really aren't super competitive. I just don't think he's fast enough. That's my main thing. Albeit Sayers is riding lights out. Dallas Stewart loves to win big races. All the intrinsics are there. And I don't know what on earth they were doing at Colonial, but that last race was very ugly if you watched it. He is clearly not a turf horse. I just don't think he's fast enough. And I think that, I would imagine what Dallas Stewart was doing in that last race was they're trying to, reinvent the wheel, trying to figure out what this horse can do to get another win. And then he's coming back here and stepping up in class. He's definitely running versus better in here. I had a hard time making a case for how he wins this race.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, the one, I know we probably talked about this a ton, but the one Forza de Oro, I think at some point, maybe right around the 8th furlong, is going to realize that he's a Speightstown and then just stop. So I know that last one was a mile. I know that last one was 9 furlongs, but I think that 10th furlong, man, it's gonna think that might get him. Mark is completely incredulous.
I was gonna say that. Explain what happened to the Discovery, where at 9 furlongs he was drawing away.
No. I don't think we really talked about Max Player. I know, Mark, you said you're going to use, but do you think that this is a horse that needs a wet track?
He's won on not wet tracks. When he won the Withers, that was a million years ago. I think he's very talented. I think he's just a classy horse, and I hate to get beat by a classy horse because I think the situation probably isn't the right one. Obviously they shipped him to they went to Saudi. He ran terrible, and his Derby and his Preakness, he didn't live up to expectations. I would imagine that they're trying to set him up for a fall campaign. His Suburban was arguably I guess it probably was the best race of his career. I don't know if he was aided by the off track or if, Asmussen just has him sort of back on a good track after taking that big shot in the Saudi Cup. But I think he's the kind of horse that he's never a horse I've loved, but I could see him making a really good campaign into the fall. And this is, a good jump off race to, a Breeders' Cup Classic shot. So I could see him being, really ready here and firing a big one. You think I'm nuts, don't you?
No, Brian's deep in thought, though. What are you thinking, Brian?
No, I kept going back and forth, and I'm trying to find a way to get to your horse, Josh.
To Happy Saver?
I am. I'm trying to see what triggered you so much, and I can't do it. I was trying to see your argument because of how strongly opinionated you were here, and I can't. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I'm actually. His only loss was in that Suburban going 1.25 miles in the slop. I just think if the track comes up dry, I think he wins.
It almost feels like the horse. And I hate to say, not going to run as well as a 4-year-old as perhaps he did as a 3-year-old, but it may.
Did he ever? Yeah.
It kind of feels that way. It kind of feels like this horse topped out, winning in at Belmont.
Winning this race at Belmont?
No, this is a G2 or this is
a G1.
Yeah. It's the Jockey Club Gold Cup. It used to be at Belmont, and they moved it a week earlier to get it up at Saratoga, and they swapped the races around. Honestly, they did it because it sets up a fall campaign better for a lot of the big horses who had started to skip the Jockey Club Gold Cup because of where it fell. So.
Which makes sense, but it's just one of those things. I don't see the horse having enough. I don't know. I hope you get it, Josh. I think you'll get a longer price than what you're anticipating.
Yeah, I just honestly, and I'm kind of a big first person. I just thought there were 4 horses in here that were all relatively the same on figures or had the ability to run a figure fast enough to win, and I just didn't love any of them, so I sort of broad brushed it.
Probably. Yeah. I'll take a 1-2-5 box. Have a nice day. I just Max Player. I've liked Max Player from the beginning, but I'm sticking with my night ops. Maybe I should do 5 with 1-2. That'd be a good one. Stephen Fox loves your horse.
He says I think you're crazy. Who do you like, Stephen?
He's going to say Chess Chief, and I'm just going to...
He's going to say Chess Chief.
Yeah, I know he's going to say Chess Chief, because I think he is a Chess Chief fan, yeah.
I don't know, I'm a big Chess Chief fan. I remember that New Orleans handicap. I'm like, man, Chess Chief's gonna wire this thing. Everyone was like, he's gonna wire this thing, and then he like breaks last, and it's just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then he closes and wins. It was just unreal.
Yeah.
But now he's closing apparently on the dirt. Like I don't know, they got him to settle down earlier or something. Yeah, CM Fox, no, it's Happy Savers race to lose here. Yeah, I agree. I think. Well, read his comment about perception.
You both are right. Happy Savers race is going to lose. I agree.
He said that after Saudi, people are really high on Mystic Guide, whose sideline retired. He doesn't agree about Mystic Guide, just the perception. Yeah, I mean, people thought Mystic Guide was the best older horse, and now he's a little, yeah.
I mean, people say a lot of dumb things, so.
Yep. All right. So Mark, I know you had we're gonna kind of take a look here. Del Mar is also closing this weekend. We got a couple of decent stakes races. I thought they were real interesting. I know we were looking at race 9 and 11. I don't know if they had another. I think they have a couple others like state bred stakes, or they at least have one more. But race 9. Going a mile and the eighth, John C. Is it Mabee? Or wait, Mark A to B, Capitan. But we got grade 2 here. Be going a mile and the eighth on the turf. Mark, your best bets in this race.
My best bet is in this race. Yeah, I landed on Maxim Rate for my best bet. And I guess my thing sort of is in here. I just think he's faster than basically everybody else in here. Second off the layoff here. Juan, I think, was a little bit late getting him rolling in that last race. I don't think he'll make that mistake again. Gets the rail, which tends to do really well at this distance at Del Mar. And there's a bunch of other horses in here that I just plain don't like. You get Dog Tag in here, who I think has a massive case of the hangs this year. I just honestly think that Maxim Rate has, is 2 for 7 across the track, albeit that's not phenomenal, but at least has one at Del Mar. And I think he's just quite honestly, or I should say she is just quite honestly faster than everybody else in this race. And I think Juan gets a really nice, nice inside stocking trip. Don't want to get too super creative. So, because I know you did not like Maxim Rate in here, Josh.
I wasn't a huge fan of Maxim Rate here. I know, like I said, that was kind of like your value play here, but I wasn't a fan of Dog Tag, so it wasn't going to go there. But I was a fan of. And I know Jared probably likes this horse because in February he's going to be going to Vegas. So I like going to Vegas in the spot. Actually, Flavian Pratt, gets aboard. I know Rispoli's been riding him as of late, but I mean, the horses won a G3 here. Didn't run his best race. I know Maxim Rate got the better of him in the Gamely. But I came back in an optional claimer won. I think this horse is going to sit a nice trip. He's going to be sitting, second or third behind some of these speed horses. He's going to get first run, and I trust Flavian on this West Coast turf to time his ride right and get first run. And I think that he's going to sit the best trip. And going to Vegas at 4-1 on StableDuel. What's that going to cost you, Mark?
4-1.
Like 6,000, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I can cheat. 4-1, 7,000. It's gonna cost you 7,000. Going to Vegas would be my pick here. 7,000. I'll actually write it here. Yoink, 7K. That's who I'd pick here in the spot for StableDuel.
No.
Brian.
So, I would say, Josh, I am absolutely shocked because if I know you, one thing that you love in California racing is one particular jock who occasionally pays the rent. I'm just shocked you don't love Boda Chiquita here. I mean, that just seems like the most Josh horse ever.
I mean, I'm a big proponent of paying the rent with Kent. But Bodhicitta, I think here is, I mean, hasn't won since last year. I mean, did win at Del Mar, won the yellow ribbon. But I don't know. I'm not feeling it in this spot. I think, I think with you got, I think might be almost like a runaway type here in, where was it? Quiet Secretary. I think Quiet Secretary is
they got to go.
Yeah, they got to go. I think there's going to be some pace, and I think, like I said, sometimes you get in that spot, and it's like if you got a good horse that's kind of a push button type, can be on the lead or sit just off. Oftentimes they sit, a couple lengths off and just ignore that leader, and I think going to Vegas is going to get that first run and go. If the race, if there's just a hair more pace, I would be more interested in a dead type closer like Bodhicitta, but I'm going to stick with going to Vegas here.
So for a StableDuel play only, I think you're spot on. I think Quiet Secretary is worth the $500 spend here, just because the horse is going to stay on. I'm probably not going to win, but if the situation's right, could win, or probably going to finish at least fourth, I'd imagine, given the pace picture here in this race. But for $500, why not? Other than that, I landed where Josh did. Going to Vegas, I thought was a good horse, Flavian out there, but I'd stay cheap. $500 for the Quiet Secretary, and hope like hell she can hang on for second or third.
Yeah, Jared Bush likes Nasty in the spot. The is it the 4-horse? Got Ricardo Gonzalez aboard for Richard Baltas. I mean, this might be another one that goes. I don't know.
My concern with Nasty is if you look at the last two, obviously it's a horse that probably needs the lead, probably is not going to get the lead, and when headed just stops. So I don't see how they wire going this far, and I don't really think this one wants to stretch out. Never really shown. I mean, they haven't really tried it, but there were too many negatives in here, given the draw and given the pace projection. Now, if this horse could get loose and, could clear, I would actually be super interested in the horse.
And I actually tried to make an argument for Tap Water just because I'm crazy like that. So that horse is too slow on figs and everything, but as a StableDuel play, but $5,000 for that horse is a little steep for, maybe fourth.
Yeah, Jersey Joe is not going to be Jersey Joe anymore. He's moving his tack permanently to California. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Mark, you were saying?
Oh no! I don't disagree. I was just say I guess my thing with Nasty also is the same thing I would have with Quiet Secretary, where I don't know. I mean, I guess she hasn't folded up like a blanket quite as badly as Nasty has, but it's also one of those ones. I understand what Brian's saying, that these you get these sort of inexpensive velocity type horses that are going to go off at big odds and they suck up, and they hang on for third, they hang on for fourth, and they're great from a StableDuel perspective. But they also occasionally will get necked at the top of the stretch and stop and finish last by 30 lengths, and then you get a max neg. So there's a big risk, big reward. Obviously you're saving a ton of cash, but they do have a propensity to to throw out a boat anchor.
Yeah, the interesting thing about your pick there, Bri, that I really liked, Quiet Secretary. If you look, the horse has been in the money, 4 out of the last 5 times. I think you're going to get some points. I think you're going to get positive points. Like, yeah, there's a chance that the horse, just tosses an anchor, and it has been in a slightly, classier race that it happened. But I think you got a good shot here to at least hit the board.
Are one of you cutting lines?
Yeah, that's what I thought. What are you doing, Mark?
Are we about to do key bumps?
Sorry.
Live? No, don't stop now. This is
what were you rubbing?
No, I was cleaning my keyboard off.
Yeah, cleaning
your keyboard off. Yeah, where's the razor at?
And a rolled up dollar bill. What the hell? All those finance guys, they all got the same problems.
Goodness gracious. All right, race 11. Mark, I know you had a long shot play that here that you liked.
Wipe your nose.
No, I did. I did have a bit of a long shot, playing here. Really big, really competitive field, and I was taking a pretty long look at Jimmy Blue Jeans. Frey has been riding really well here. This is a horse has won its last 3, 1-for-1 at Del Mar, 1-for-1 at the distance. Horse that's going to be very forwardly placed in here. Don't be on the lead, but sitting probably right off the 3 here. And I thought that the 12-1 morning line was probably a bad morning line. I think this horse is one that's improved every race of literally, their last 5 or 6 starts. And I think that's the kind of horse that at a bit of a price makes a ton of sense to, wait until the 3 peels, get a little brave late, and end up stealing this whole thing. And again, that's if Hockey Dad does stop, because Hockey Dad does have quite a bit of natural speed and sometimes just keeps right on going. But my concern really in here with Hockey Dad, the 3, is that I don't think Hockey Dad wants to go this far. I think Hockey Dad's probably more of a miler, where I actually think that Jimmy Blue Jeans might want to go a little further, and this might be the perfect trip, and sort of just inherits the lead, mid stretch, and holds on from the late chargers at a pretty nice price, 12-1, which in StableDuel that's what, $800 or something. It's pretty cheap.
12-1.
12-1 is $750.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good price. I'm glad Chase isn't here because I think I like the Baffert Turf Horse.
Oh my! He can still hear you.
He can hear you, and we're gonna tell him and pull that snippet out so that he,
Jared Bush likes Barazza, and Jared Bush apparently seems to also subscribe to the mantra. Hit it around with Kent.
I thought there. Oh, sorry, Brian, but that was it. There were a lot of horses in here that made sense, and I don't hate Barazza at all in here.
The thing I can't wrap my head around, and holy crap, there we go. I just have one word for you because he ruins everybody's pick 5 that I know. His name is Tiago.
Oh my goodness.
And why did Baltus put this horse in a G2 off of an optional claimer 3rd place finish? What does he know that we don't know about this horse? I'm trying to put a story together on why the horse is here, and I can't. It doesn't make sense to me, so maybe you guys have an angle, but I'm sitting here looking at it. The horse is 3 for 5 on turf in the money, lifetime, 20-1. This would be another one of those crazy StableDuel plays that I look at, and you're going to see the tote board and be like, hey, look, they knew the horse is 10-1. But something just seems off to me on the placement of the horse here. So I can't get past that right now to subjectively handicap the race.
I thought the same exact thing, and I have a note on that horse too. That may be a potential sort of spot play. I actually think there's a lot of prices in here that were super interesting. That was one that I really flagged where that horse is super, super, super interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I'd like the 1. I know it's going to be kind of short. I think 9-2 in the morning line, but I think if I were to take a little bit longer of a play here, a little bit longer of a price, it would be the 3 Hockey Dad. I know there's a little bit of questions about the distance, but I mean Uncle Mo going. I know it's Nyquist, but Nyquist is just was his second year or first year, sire.
I think this is his second. Last was his first year, right?
But I'm not sure. I think last year was 2-year-olds. I think this is still his first crop of 3-year-olds. Oh goodness, I don't even want to know. I hear the Discord beeps and I hear you laughing. But I think Hockey Dad at 8-1, I think makes a bit of sense here. Yeah, I think that might be more of a StableDuel type play. What are we looking at? 8-1, $3,000. Easy. Save some money. Hockey Dad. But
I'm surprised. So
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm surprised you went Hockey Dad instead of Hudson Ridge. You're Baffert on the turf.
You're surprised that I like Hudson Ridge here?
I am. And I say that because it seems like he's going to be not the leader. But never mind. I'll shut up now. I'm just.
I mean, has one from just off. I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
My big thing with Hudson Ridge here is I don't hate the horse. I don't hate the trip he's going to get. It's just purely that Bafferts have not been firing at Del Mar all meet that were not maidens. His maidens have been running, but his other horses just really have not. And he's not having his normal Del Mar type meet. And quite honestly, also, I think this one's might not be fast enough on paper. And I realize I don't run horses on paper. But I don't know. I mean, last out, horse seemed to be kind of a little exposed. So, by 2 in here, and I think we kind of know what this one is, and it's probably not good enough to win this.
It's one of those things. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but the mile and the eighth on the turf at Del Mar, I don't think the rail's where you want to be because they're starting in the middle of the turn.
Yep.
And lots of things could go wrong there.
They have that little chute thing, and you very often get pinched on the inside.
Yep. So, I mean, I could make a lot of arguments to why I wouldn't play that horse. It probably will be the post-time favorite, right?
I would assume that'll be your post-time favorite, probably just on connections, yeah.
All right. I think that's going to do it for us. We were able to get through that pick 5. We were able to get through a couple of races at Del Mar, talk a little StableDuel. We'll be around this weekend. It's going to be a nice long weekend. Brian, do you have Monday off?
I do have Monday off.
Nice. What are you going to do with your newfound freedom?
I have to put a bathtub in.
Oh, that's right, the bathroom.
Because I didn't get far enough on my week off, so I need to put the bathtub.
Did your tub surround appear yet?
Yes. So great story about the tub surround for a different day, but involved me, a U-Haul, and a Home Depot that is many miles away.
That you apparently weren't so happy with.
No, but don't tell me you have it Home Depot and then not have it, and then tell me you'll ship it tomorrow and then not ship it. So,
shout out Home Depot.
Shout out Home Depot. I voiced my concerns and I yelled at 2 store managers. So, yay me.
Even Massey's on looks like a race where everyone gets screwed by Tiago Pereira.
Is he sort of like Rosario though, where if we talk about him, it can't happen?
No,
it only happens when you.
It only happens when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to come back to this and we're going to say, even if Tiago doesn't win, he's going to get bet down, and we're going to be like, oh, look, they know. And then we're all going to jump on like idiots and lose money.
Oh, man. But, go ahead and make sure you guys check us out at wrong_lead on Twitter. Obviously, you guys have our YouTube and or Twitter, depending on where you're watching. But our YouTube is On The Wrong Lead, youtube.com/On The Wrong Lead. Check out ontherwronglead.com. Buy T-shirts or other random stuff that we have up there. I did a refresh a little while ago, so I took a couple designs down, and I'm going to be getting a couple new ones up there here in a couple weeks. So, we'll catch you guys later. Oh, look at Caesar shows up at the fucking end. Dude, we just finished, Caesar. Oh, Caesar.
Nice exit, Josh. Well
Dude,
done.
I felt so bad. So Caesar was live in that last Del Mar race to the 4.
Aren't we? We're still live, aren't we?
Yeah, we are still live.
Okay.
So I'm talking. Caesar was live to this Del Mar to the 4, and I think he finished 4th. But it was funny because Chase Murphy, our boy Greg, liked the 4 and the 6, and I saw Chase shouting him out. So I thought Caesar hit. I was so fucking pumped, dude. I don't know if you guys saw me looking at my phone. Like I was getting ready to look, and then I realized it was the other Murphy horse. It wasn't the 4 that won, and then I felt bad. I think the pick 5 paid like 26,000 or something. It was something nuts. But Caesar, thank you for catching the last couple minutes, man. Sorry your bet didn't hit. That was a great structure. You just needed that horse at the end. But yeah, we'll be around this weekend. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up in Discord. And we will catch you guys later.